Hi everyone, it's Bitcoin from
The Big Jabowski.
In the third week of this season. I am actually quite lucky because none of my opponents in my group this week have a Galactic Legend. I'm the only one, which is quite a surprise. But by looking at some of the opponents, like my current opponent, 12 Gauge from Mustafar Fire Brigade, this one doesn't even have General Skywalker, but what's a really common theme with a lot of these opponents is that they have heavily invested relics into the characters that they already have, like Relic 7 Darth Revan over here, Relic 7 Padme, etc. And I felt like this has been pretty common ever since I've been in Division 1, is that people don't have very many Gear 13s, but the ones they do have, they tend to take up quite high, which is really nice for me. This one also preloaded his roster with sort of part of the First Order, so he's already getting a lot of them relicked up, even though he's very far away from finishing them. So for the foreseeable weeks, he will be facing very tough matchups, which really doesn't help him out in Grand Arena. So lots of opponents have been like this, and yeah, it makes for some really strange matches and matchups where I feel a little bit bad for people to have to face Galactic Legends. So oftentimes I'll end up actually keeping mine for offense, which I have done in this case. My opponent hasn't attacked by the looks of it. I went relatively light on defense for my usual doing, just Darth Revan over here, because my opponent always sets pretty much all of his strongest teams on defense. In this case, his Darth Revan team over here, he split off Basilla with Grandmaster Yoda and then put a separate JKR team here, which is supposed to time me out. And then over here is Relic Dooku as well. So essentially he has very few relics on offense. So I don't really know what his thought process is there, but yeah. So, well, these are the teams that I have. These are the teams my opponent has. As usual, I've done a little bit of pre-work. I think here in the bottom, it's going to make most sense for me to use General Skywalker to not allow any revives. Now, I don't see any situation in which I would need 3 characters here. So I might end up going in with 2 and saving 5s for something else. That could make sense. My only concern is with going solo is that JKR over here could sort of stun me. He could stun me. And then I might end up getting stuck because they're just going to target me down and drop my max health. So for that reason, I think bringing another clone could be smart. Perhaps even bringing Ahsoka in as well for some dispels could be a good idea. So then I do go in with 3, but simply a little bit lighter than adding 5s in there. So I'm not quite sure there. I definitely shouldn't underestimate them. I just need to keep him standing to do enough attacks, and he's not going to do that by himself, I think, if JKR gets control of me. So I have to be pretty careful there, also with all of the foresights flying around from General Kenobi. Then yeah, Trey over here, nothing special. And then this one is actually really tricky because of the Dooku. I can use CLS Han Chewie, but as you can see, they're relatively weak, and it doesn't take Dooku a whole lot to take them down. He's also like 300 something speed, so that's like a personal project of his, I suppose. What I can do here is immediately take out Watt in the beginning. That's very nice. But then after that, I'm stuck with this pretty tough challenge of having to take these guys out. And I don't know if these guys will be able to pull through. So it would have been pretty nice to have another option there, but I'm not quite sure that I will. I did consider bringing Padme, for example, and blasting through it with them. That would be pretty doable. The tricky part is there that I would need to use my First Order against Shaq, and then I don't really keep anything strong until the back zone, essentially. So that makes this one a little bit tricky. I might still end up switching these and actually putting Padme over here. Kylo Ren and Mask can very nicely tank anything that Rex over here would throw at him, especially if I end up deciding to bring Watt over here instead of First Order Officer. That could be a good choice as well. So yeah, it's a little bit tricky. It's definitely annoying to try to figure this one out without risking any losses. The risk is with Dooku's pretty high tenacity that I wouldn't get a stun on him because he's definitely going to be countering everything. Only these two can stun. They each have 1 move, and I'd be spending some time on Magna Guard for sure. So they might end up dying before I manage to get Dooku under control. And that's not really ideal for me. What I could also do is bring Thrawn together with these two. because I don't necessarily need him anywhere else, and then I could get control of Dooku pretty easily. So perhaps that will end up being a smarter choice for me. But yeah, I'll just have to see. I think that's what I'll end up doing, putting my Thrawn over there. And then that's going to be my first match potentially. Another thing, I should actually start with this one, Supreme Leader Kylo versus these three. Now I have seen someone do this without the ultimate, because you just never get to the point of the ultimate. So I'll be trying that one first. If that one fails, then the entire plan changes pretty much, but it should be able to pull through. So let's get started with the toughest match there. The only thing I don't know is if that person had offense modding on their Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, or if they had health modding like me, as you might prefer in 3v3. So that does make it a little bit risky. I'd say more than a little bit. I could add Watt here to put some tech on him so that he regenerates. Would have to be the health tech, the taunting tech to cleanse the shocks in case any of those go out, or to cleanse ability blocks, as those are really dangerous too. But Bastilla Fallen should fall immediately, I suppose. But I'll try to solo, I think. Not quite sure if it's going to work out, but I'll just have to give it my best shot. And hope that the damage is enough. That's the main thing. I really don't want it to last too long. So the strategy is to stun Bastilla Fallen first. And then the fear doesn't stick to me. Now I have a shock on me, and that's actually pretty annoying, because that means that Malak here is taunting. And I cannot do my AoE on Bastilla Fallen, which gives me more stacks. But it's the only play for me now that cleanses the shock as well. But it doesn't kill Bastilla Fallen, so that actually means that I have a very high chance of losing here, which is pretty annoying. I really wish I could target her here right now, and that immediately plays into why it's valuable to bring what. Yeah, that's pretty tricky for me. I want to check my tenacity on my Supreme Leader Kylo Ren after the fight to get a good idea of what to expect. Obviously the drains don't really damage me, but the ability block that's about to come in might. Now I got lucky here, I beat her by a little bit. Then again, my Kylo is decently fast, so that certainly helps. But that could have ended very poorly there. So now I can pick off Darth Revan, which I will, it just makes a lot more sense. And then I can focus on Darth Malak. So, I mean, ultimately looking at the fight, it doesn't feel like I was really at risk at any point. It's just a bit scary when Malak starts taunting there and you can't immediately take up Bastilla Fallen. But because I had enough speed on me, I was able to avoid that scenario. Definitely felt dodgy, but I mean, I'm still at full health here. And mind you, full health is 300k health over here for me. So 55 banners on a Relic 7 Darth Revan, Relic 5 Bastilla Fallen, and Relic 7 Malak. I will take that any day. Yeah, really happy about that one. Alright, that's pretty good then. I had a little bit of lag there, so I just quickly checked if there's anything running in the background to get rid of, which there seemed to be. So this one's taken care of then, that's pretty sweet. That means I can move on to the bottom zone without needing to worry about stuff. I was just quickly going to check my Supreme Leader Kylo Ren's tenacity, because it's something I actually didn't really look into. I know that Rey has pretty high tenacity to begin with, so that one certainly works out in her favor, which is also why generally Bastilla's potency benefits a lot from that unique under Darth Revan to try to get ability blocks on her. But let's just take a look at Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. I can't imagine the health modding having a whole lot of tenacity, so just checking him like this will be enough. Yeah, it's pretty low. That's pretty low for sure. So a very decent chance to get shock on him. Well, that's very good to know for the future. If you have a Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, you can use him like this. Like I said, I don't really see a lot of chance for risk. Just for a little heads up, I run him at about 500 speed when he has all the health mods. 505, something like that. So it gives you a bit of an indication of what you might end up facing. Now granted, his Bastilla Fallen wasn't super fast, I believe. So he does run her in arena. Let me just quickly check for you, just in case anyone's interested. And then I'll just move on. So yeah, 299 is pretty slow. I was still, I think, like 15% ahead. So I think all things considered, you would have been fine, even fighting like a 3-15 Bastilla Fallen or something like that. So let's move on over here. I think next one I want to fight is the Geos team. Let's handle that one. Another thing that I could consider, that I did consider, was to use my Treya over here actually. Because I can probably just tank a lot of their hits and get an Annihilate in. That could be pretty nice. The only downside there is the JKR by himself, he can still gradually reduce my health over time. And there is a lot of foresight, so getting around to my Annihilates would be really slow. And yeah, I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of that. Maybe if I bring Thrawn, I can get a lot of control on the field. And that could help me out a little bit. So maybe that's actually what I'll end up doing. Just to do something a little bit different again. Rather than just sending in General Skywalker and mashing these guys. Then again, it is the easier fight and it is his strongest remaining team. So switching that up doesn't feel like it makes a whole lot of sense. So I'll just go with this one. I just have to quickly check his kit because I know he gets Tenacity. Never quite remember from which one. I think it might be under the leadership. I just need to know what his final tenacity is going to be versus the potency on Jedi Knight Revan. Is it hero with no fear? Yeah. 25% tenacity for each other ally. Okay. And I have his tenacity at 66. So that's about 87. And then I just want to know, does he have, going a little too fast here, does he have a potency cross? Important details. Okay, it's tenacity. He does get some bonus, I believe. So 46%. Yeah, he does have a pretty high chance to land that stun. So I feel like it's too risky to just undersize. So I'm not going to do that. Again, the Treya thing feels very tempting, especially because I can stall towards the end and build up a lot of, like, recover my protection essentially. So I think I'll do that one actually just as a personal challenge to myself. It seems a lot more fun than just overkilling this with General Skywalker. If I end up losing, it's fine. This guy just isn't going to be able to beat me because of how he played things. So I'd rather just experiment a little bit in case I ever fight like a serious opponent, or rather one that threatens me in some way, so that I have options, and perhaps the people watching have a little more use out of watching this as well. My, it's slow, rather than going with the overkill. So let's do that. Maybe it'll end up failing spectacularly, and then I can just swap around some kind of counter and make it work that way. As long as I don't risk the full clear, just to try to experiment a little bit, it's fine with me. So Thrawn, there we go. Actually, I did consider bringing Thrawn with CLS and with Han and Chewie there, so that makes this not work. I can bring Scion, but it means that I'll bleed a bunch of banners. That's not so ideal. That's actually a good question, what I want to do there. I just don't really see CLS working over against Dooku. If I do this with Scion, then I'm definitely bleeding a lot of banners, but I've got a lot more dispels. It's also a matter of keeping them alive a little bit, and those guys, they don't really debuff, so I won't really be stacking a whole lot of health. That makes it risky, yeah. So I think I'll clear it out. I don't really want to send General Skywalker up against Dooku either, do something there. It's not so ideal. Dooku has a really good kit up against General Skywalker, so that's not really nice for me. So I'll go with these three instead. Got some dispels. And Rex will definitely get to his Annihilates. Perhaps Fives can do something fun somewhere else. So let's just go with these. Okay, no, I'll get some armor shred on him. to begin with. Okay, those Ahsoka dispels are really coming in handy here. Okay, it's ridiculously slow. That's not going to make me particularly happy, or the viewers. It feels like it's constantly trying to spin up some stuff in the background. Just like maintenance processes and whatever, I don't know. I'll need to take a look at that. Interesting that they choose to go for Rex, just completely ignoring what actually needs to happen on the field. But works out for me pretty nicely. Yeah, I'm sorry for the lag. I'm going to restart it after this and take a look at how I can fix it, because watching it like this is not particularly bearable. I'll just get Kenobi out of here first. Well, a burn through the Savior, that is, but then focus on him. Ah, my banners. Unbelievable. I think I can probably just autoplay this one. It doesn't look like the AI has any clue what it's doing. So just going through it like this makes a lot more sense. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna autoplay. There's absolutely no point in looking through this very painful process of lag. There we go, and Rex does the Annihilate in a sec. Why didn't he do it now? Pretty sure he had it available. There we go. Alright, just gonna restart and try to fix this. Alright, hopefully it's a little bit better now. That's this fight done as well. So then I'll just go ahead with the Geos counter, and I can do the Thrawn thing over against Dooku. Hopefully I'll be able to leave Magna Guard alive to sort of recover my protection well enough there. And I'm gonna have a pretty weird team of like CLS 5s and Nihilus hanging around that I could potentially do something with. That one's also gone. Yep. So let's do Geos next, the ultimate lag test for me. Always gotta check the crit chance on Spy, because perhaps I do need to bring my Scion. It looks like he has all crit chance mods. Only 75% still, so basically with Traya leadership plus my Scion's crit avoidance, Arrow, Spy has a 0.1% chance of critting me. So you're telling me there's a chance. Unless I'm like not accounting for some kind of thing. Yeah, I'm not relicked, so 0.1%. I'm going to laugh so hard if he actually specs me out. I mean, if he crits me, let me put it that way. If he specs me out, don't really see it happen much if they're not relicked and if they don't crit, but in theory it should be possible. Of course, they're focusing on Traya. Bit weird there, because normally seen when you cleanse the pain, they're still supposed to focus on my Scion for a bit. Let's try and get this hit in here. Resisted. Not too much of a fan there. Yeah, I'm probably gonna end up losing my Traya because she does not have the crit avoidance arrow like Scion does. But I'll see how it goes. Hopefully I can get the pain on there this time. That's better. Yeah, it's still pretty laggy, unfortunately. I've tried to do what I could, but it does not seem to be enough to make it lag free. So I'm going to look into some options of what else I can do to make this a little more enjoyable to watch, so that it's not so laggy. Also not as frustrating for me with the restarts. I'll have to look into what I can do there, but that's going to be for some time later. Maybe I'll have some time this weekend. Don't quite know just yet what that's going to look like. So I'll bring in Thrawn, Han, and Chewie. Try to make quick work of these. There are probably other ways to do it. I'm just not too interested in thinking of them right now. But whenever I see Watt somewhere, I always immediately think of Han, because it's just so super convenient to do this at the start and avoid the tech altogether. Unfortunately, I fell a little bit short there, though I am quite surprised why on earth did Watt not hand out any tech there. I've actually seen this before when I use Watt on offense, which to me is the strangest thing ever. I'm gonna swap to Chewie here, I think, just to smash. Yeah, the strangest thing where if you get shot with Han, you cannot put the tech somehow. I don't think I've had it for offense, but I've definitely seen it on defense. So annoying thing now is I have to get through Magna Guard, so I'm kinda... I was hoping that I could fracture Dooku before Magna Guard would start messing around here, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So my best bet here is to just avoid Dooku altogether, I guess. Maybe try and land a stun. It's risky, but I got it. Nice. Okay, let's try and keep the focus on Dooku here then. Reduce his turn meter, hopefully. Nah. That is the tenacity on him kicking in. Okay. Try and get a stun on Magna Guard at least. Nope. Not happening either. Han is pretty high turn meter, so I guess it makes sense to swap to him, but I'd also like to keep my Chewie alive. So let's swap to Chewie in this case. I don't really benefit too much from fracturing Magna Guard anyway. I just need to burn through him. Yeah, it's super slow. Okay, that's a lot better. Now I just need to stall out a little bit. Unfortunately, I've got a shock on me here, so I won't be able to recover the protection, but that's all right. I'm just glad it worked nicely in the first run. And I'll take that one. And now I can see what he has in the back. If he actually put his Padme there, I'm gonna laugh, because it means he has nothing on offense. Okay, some odd teams. Works for me. Let's just take a screenshot here. And put it in there. So I can keep the stray CLS around. Just as a reminder to myself, more than anything, I often tend to forget if I don't put them here, then I'll just forget that I left a character, and unless I scroll through all of my options, I might not think about it anymore, and that would be a bit of a pity. Alright, after giving it a little bit of thought, I'll stick with Padme over against Shaq, then Geos up against the Night Sisters, JKR here against their Bastilla. I can just direct focus Grandmaster Yoda, hopefully to try to keep focus on him and stop him from doing too much damage to me. Then Rage at a Training against Nest makes a whole lot of sense. Bastilla over here against Mother Talzin. It's not really great because they go under health, but hopefully if I bring Hermit Yoda or something, I can keep them nicely topped up. Then I've got First Order against the Bounty Hunters, and hopefully they'll be able to burn through them after a while. It'll probably take a minute. I can also still use these guys in case I need to, and I would like to do something with Nest up against the Newt team. So that's more or less the plan. Maybe I'll do like 5s with Nest or something. I don't really know. Don't really know what's going to make sense. But yeah, I'll just get started on it and see what I keep along the way. I'll just do this one first. Resistance. Look at the scrolling speed, finally. We're back to civilization. So there's the feat that makes us kill people with people who played in the Battle of Hoth, where I guess I am right now. But I don't really have this. Like, I don't really have the characters because I put my Darth Vader on defense. Let's start with the burning. Get some control, hopefully. 1 exposed, that's pretty disappointing. Yeah, I've got my Darth Vader on defense. I didn't really think about it. I could have maybe brought him up against the Night Sisters, tried to do something that way, but yeah, I don't really mind. I'm not too worried about those feats. And other than Darth Vader, I really don't have any options. My Stark is way too weak. Veers as well. Let's actually keep focus on Nest while I can. Make some progress. Get a stun on Kira, because Kira can still expose with the basic. Just avoid a little bit of damage there. She's nearly done. It's a pretty fast Nest, it seems. I didn't really look into it. Keep you under control and then hopefully pick off Nest here with a burn. Close. Well, this should still burn through. Pretty sure. There we go. Alright, the Illuminated Destiny isn't going to top up my Rey. So I definitely need to protect her with the stealth. I think anyway. Yeah, she needs another one. So let's see if I can last through this one. Try to get another one off. BB-8 is also not entirely full. Nah, that's not happening. She's got a little too much power. Well, 53, I'll take it. I wonder if he's even going to attack at any point. I honestly don't really think he will. Let's pick out another match. Let's do this one. Let's go back and click on it again, just in case I clicked on the wrong thing. So, Padme, Jedi Knight Anakin, and General Kenobi. Main challenge here is getting to Rex fast enough. They are a pretty fast team on the other side. So getting to him fast enough will be the tricky part. I could start with a kick here to try to get Shaak Ti under control. Might not be the worst idea, but I'd rather get some protection up quickly and then make good use of that by doing a lot more damage. So let's get started like this. I want to definitely try to kill Shaak Ti first. I just need to make sure that I maintain 4 sights on General Kenobi. Maybe it's even going to make more sense for me to... well, it depends. I was going to say to try to just burn through Rex twice, just so I can stun him after 5s is down. But I think I'll be alright. Everyone has foresight except General Kenobi at the moment. Ooh. Please don't supercharge Rex. Gotta be careful at all times with that retribution. He's going to do it before me. Oh, he's got foresight now. So this one should be dodged. Yep. That was just in time, but it looks like I have my full protection here. Nice. So it can work, it's just really tricky. Depends on which clones are there as well. If you have Echo, for example, who's constantly assisting, or Arc, who has a turret, then the odds of you getting dispelled are pretty high. So always want to be careful with this match, especially against higher relic ones. Well, to be honest, it's so ridiculously slow right now. I think I'm just going to end the recording. You can see what I have left and what he has left. It's not going to be anything particularly interesting, and I don't really want to put people through this ridiculous lag. I'll just finish it up real quick and call it a day. Hope you had a lag-free match, and I'll see you all again soon for the next round.